I'm Eric Stark, back to talk LL League football. Week 7, Ed. But before we get into 7, let's go back to 6. You were at a big game, a clash, head coaches, Jim Cantafio and Jerry Novak on Lancaster Catholic, the offensive and defensive coordinator, respectively. Mike Williams for Central, and Lancaster Catholic's head coach, Bruce
Harbaugh.
Yeah. These guys have a history with each other, some big matches in the past. It led to some great stories before the game, but the game itself, to me, really wasn't that good.
Well, it was better, closer than maybe the score would appear. It was Catholic actually led 3-0 early. Central comes back. It's still a 7-3 game late in the half when Central breaks, a screen pass for a 52-yard touchdown, and then Catholic drives back down the field. They have a chance to kick a field goal, make it 14-6 at the break, which is a close game.
That would have been close.
Yeah, and Central, to their credit, blocked the field goal, and then the second half was kind of just like a slow motion route, if you will. Central controlled the entire way in the second half, and then ended up 24-3.
Sort of grinded it out.
It was grinded out.
That's typical of Central, to get that kind of thing that could have been a momentum switcher for Catholic, getting that field goal, and they block the kick. That's Manheim.
Kind of been Catholic's season too.
Yeah,
They've been up and down. They've had some good plays, but it's like Bruce Harbaugh says, kind of like one step forward sometimes and 2 steps back.
Difference with teams right now with how young they are as well. Manheim Central has got a big matchup this weekend. Playing LS, it is our fan vote game of the week, plus is winning your games of the week. And I mentioned the kickers and special teams. Let's stay on that for a second. The kicker for Manheim Central, it becomes an extra weapon out there in the field. You say like a 12th man on defense, right?
Derek Adams.
Yeah.
Why? Last week, 4 out of his 5 kicks were touchbacks. That gives him 19 for the year. And the fact that you can continually pin the opposing offense back at their own 20, and make them drive the length of the field, which is hard at any level, but especially hard at the high school level where you have to avoid mistakes, avoid turnovers, and drive 80 yards against a defense that has only given up, 6 points more than once all season.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Central over the last 4 games has not allowed a touchdown. And they're number 1 in the league, ratings-wise. So, that just adds to Central's effectiveness on defense. And, Adams basically is like a 12th man on defense. And
Central, give them credit for this defense. They're missing 2 key guys with injuries, correct?
Justin Moreno and Dan Wiederek, 2 starters.
That's key. Now, they're going against an LS team that seems to be on a roll right now. In the last 3 games, LS has scored 46 – is averaging 46 points a game. They haven't scored less than 31 points all year, right?
Right.
So, offense, defense here, right?
Yeah. And basically, you have the best defense in the league going against, arguably the best offense in the league and – perhaps the best quarterback in the league in Bear Shank. And, the last time LS beat Manheim was when they had the older Shank, Nate. At quarterback. So, these 2 teams know each other pretty well. And the other thing, too, is, Eric, let's not forget LS's defense. They shut out Cacalico 2 weeks ago. They give up 3 points last week. So they haven't allowed a touchdown in 8 quarters.
This could be the biggest game in Section 2. This could be for all the marbles because what I'm seeing right now, LS already beat Cacalico this year. Manheim hasn't played Cacalico yet, but where these teams are matching up, this could be for the title right now.
It could be, but let's not forget Garden Spot either. They lost last week to Cacalico, but they're a good team, and anytime you have a playmaker like Mitch Martin at quarterback and, the weapons he has around him, and their defense is decent. I've seen them play this year. I would not count Garden Spot out of the mix yet either.
I do think that Garden Spot got Cacalico at the wrong time. Cacalico was coming off the loss to LS. This is an animal that Ginrich had those guys ready to play this week, but I was surprised with that score. 31-0 at halftime. They mercy ruled them, rolling to a 45-13 win against Garden Spot. I was surprised by the score there.
And I think Cacalico did to Garden Spot what LS had done to Cacalico the week before. They jumped on him early, and things just snowballed from there.
I could see that happening in this game coming up this weekend you're going to be at as well.
Manheim and LS.
Yeah. If the wrong team gets in charge, it's going to control the momentum of this game.
I would expect a much closer game. Okay. I would be shocked if either team was mercy ruled in this game. I just don't see that happening.
Okay. A couple other matchups, games of the week. Penn Manor. This one would have been the game of the week. Penn Manor versus Manheim Township in Section 1 if we didn't have the LS Central game. What are your thoughts with these 2 teams?
Again, 2 teams that some people say these 2 teams are only playing for second place in Section 1. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, somebody's got to knock off Wilson at some point, but the winner of this game will stay tied with Wilson, assuming they win their game with Conestoga Valley.
They will win that
atop
game.
Section 1.
Yeah.
So, this is a big game for both these clubs. They've got to win this game to make sure that their game with Wilson later on in the season is for the Section 1 championship.
And if it's not, if they're going to keep pace with but even if they lose to Wilson, it's going to be a placement in districts that's very important too. Big game.
Yeah.
And Section 3, we got a good game too. Donegal versus Pequea Valley. Donegal needs this game, don't they?
They do.
Same
And
reasons you're mentioning.
Yeah, Donegal needs this game to keep pace with Anvil and Northern Lebanon in Section 3. The interesting thing about Pequea Valley, they shut out Columbia last week. I went back on our records. As far back as 2003, this is Pequea Valley's first defensive shutout.
Wow.
So, kudos to them for getting the job done.
And, Columbia doesn't get shut out very often
No.
either. They really don't. Okay, so those are the three matchups. Let's look back for a second. Some surprises from the week. We already mentioned the Garden Spot Calgary game, a surprise there. CV plays Warwick. I thought it'd be a close game. CV scores 45 points.
Yeah.
And how about this Lopez kid?
Joe Lopez, 5 touchdowns, right.
4 rushing, 1 receiving.
Yeah, dual threat player. I thought that game would be closer. I thought Warwick's defense, I knew all about CV's offense. I thought Warwick's defense would keep it closer. CV just, did what they wanted, apparently. I didn't see the game, but.
Lopez had a big game earlier in the year against Ephrata, but that was Ephrata, so people sort of discredit that one. I root for Lopez because he seated me at Texas Roadhouse earlier this year. Great seat, so I'm glad to see him doing well. Pequea Valley, Hunter Smith. Talk to me a little about him.
3 touchdowns for Pequea Valley. He's another guy. He's been doing the job, week in, week out for Pequea Valley. A big producer for them on offense. So, he came up, was a major factor in their shutout win over Columbia.
One more note about Pequea Valley. The Braves and Solanco both broke 3-game losing streaks.
Yep.
Sort of nice to get to see them bouncing back last week.
They were big bounce back wins for both those teams.